Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Australian Intercultural Society's luncheon series. My name is Ahmet, and no, I did not have plastic surgery. My name is Ahmet Keskin. You would have been familiar with Ahmet Orhan Polat. Just to let you know, for those of you who haven't caught up with the news, the two Ahmets made a swap. So I'm from Sydney, from an organisation, well, a sister organisation actually called Affinity Intercultural Foundation. So Ahmet's gone to take up the role of being the Executive Director of Affinity Intercultural Foundation, and I have the task of filling in the big shoes of Ahmet Orhan Polat. So please bear with me and please enjoy your time here. I'd like to begin by respectfully acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation and the traditional owners and the custodians of the land on which we stand, and pay our respects to their elders past and present. In this room, there are representatives from more than 60 different organisations, businesses and government departments. We welcome each and every one of you, particularly those of you from the Consulate Corps, various government agencies, councils, media, but in particular I'd like to welcome our former Governor General Peter Hollingsworth and Frank Maguire MP. Welcome you both to this lecture series. I'd now like to just move on to the program of introducing our guest facilitator, who will be introducing our keynote presenter, who we're very fortunate to have to benefit from her experience. Our guest facilitator is the Director of Ethos Centre for Christianity and Society, and also the Chair of the Melbourne Anglican Society Social Responsibilities Committee. He was a minister at several Anglican churches in Sydney and is now Senior Minister at Yarraville Anglican. Academically, he lectured at Morling Baptist College of New South Wales and was Director of Macquarie Christian Studies Institute at Macquarie University, and is the Dean of the University College and Director of the Centre for Applied Christian Ethics at Rev'd College, University of Melbourne. Gordon, our facilitator, was also Executive Director of Urban Seed, a Ministry of Hospitality and Advocacy for Melbourne's homeless. He's also currently Ethics Consultant for the Secular Award-winning Christian Super and teaches Ethics for Ridley Melbourne, Business Ethics for the School of Applied Finance at Macquarie University, and is an honorary fellow at the Doctoral Supervisor for the University of Divinity. His doctorate and specialty is in the theology and ethics of work, in which he is a leader and board member of 2 international bodies. He's an award-winning author, editor of 13 books, and of Zeta Perspectives, Equip and Engage Ethical Email. He's married to Susan, who's a mental health educator and has 3 lovely children. Please welcome our guest facilitator, Mr. Gordon Preece.
Thanks very much, Ahmet. Thanks particularly for getting my name right. It's Preece, which is P-R-E-E-C-E. That being an Anglican priest, I've had lots of jokes about that, which I've been around for about 30 years, so they were funny for about the first 30 seconds. But it was worse for my sister, having the same surname fairly obviously as Preece. But when she got married, she married a guy called Chris Bishop. So at the wedding, I said it wasn't a wedding; it was a consecration. So I don't know. Maybe she was worse off, or she got the promotion, so maybe she was better off than I was. I want to I was asked to say a little bit about myself, but a fair bit's been said, so I think I'll leave most of that out. I'd rather just say a little bit just in terms of connection with today's topic, and which I'm really thrilled to be here to introduce Deborah Glassner. Also, in terms of the topic of it was up there a minute ago, fairness for minority members of the community and more marginalised members of the community. And that's obviously an incredibly important topic. It's something that Deborah Glass has devoted most of her life and professional career to. One particular thing that I was mentioning to her that I was drawn as I was doing a bit of reading about her career was the being a football fanatic. When I say football, I mean the world game. Apologies to, and I'm a tragic Spurs supporter, unfortunately. But when I was in the UK for 2013 for my son's English wedding, there was a wonderful documentary on at the time about the Hillsborough disaster. It was a game where they were saying many supporters were died at that game, and there was a kind of whole process whereby the supporters were blamed. Coming from Liverpool, there was a highly politicised aspect to all of that, and but over time these people just didn't give up, and they were people who were marginalised. Liverpool was regarded in the time of Thatcher's England as a lost cause, as if it should just kind of collapse into the sea. And so there were all sorts of things in terms of media coverage, etc., about that. So I think just chatting to Deborah, she said, well, it was a very, very, I guess, difficult period. It's one of the things she is really proud of being associated with that whole process of bringing justice to the victims, clearing people's names, and also holding the police to account in that particular example. So we have someone who has a very strong track record of sticking up for justice. For a couple of things I ought to do just in terms of process, I want to welcome you all here, first of all. It's wonderful that we're receiving this great hospitality, and seeing many people who have links outside, and whose links have been kind of fostered by meeting here, but reinforced in various other ways as well. Very basically, the toilets are located on the left next to the lifts. So if you need those, that's where they are. So a bit of introduction about the Australian Intercultural Society. If you, like me, are new to it, but I'm looking forward to getting to know it much better after today. The AIS is a not-for-profit organisation that's been operating in Melbourne since the beginning of the millennium, so since 2000. Their aim is to promote multiculturalism and foster intercultural and interfaith dialogue by building bridges between different sectors of society. And that's why we're here today. That's why they organise events like this and various things that we've seen flashing up on the screen as well. Study tours of Turkey, etc. Having been on a study tour of Turkey, it wasn't with AIS, but another group, but it was a phenomenal experience to go to Turkey, so I highly recommend it. Since its establishment, AIS has organised international study tours, like I mentioned, academic conferences, cultural exhibitions, Ramadan, iftar dinners, government-sponsored projects, etc. Each event has obviously its own kind of content and its own flavour, but it's as much about the contacts as the contents of the particular event. They're designed very much to facilitate relationships and ongoing dialogue. So the circle of AIS supporters kind of ripples out into all sorts of sectors of society, and kind of adds a kind of dialogical flavour, I guess, to other sectors of society that people are already involved in. AIS believes it's necessary to work in partnership with different segments of society, alongside cultural and religious organisations. It's worked with people in government and public service, and obviously Deborah Glass has a very, very strong involvement in those areas, in particular in her present role. Education, academia and media. They've collaborated on projects with federal departments and local councils, including the Victorian Multicultural Commission, Australian Federal Police and the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade. They also have relationships with organisations such as the Catholic Archdiocese of Melbourne. I was chatting to David Schultz over lunch earlier. The Rotary Club, Deakin University, the Buddhist Council of Victoria, and I'm glad to add through Barney Swartz and myself, the Melbourne Anglican Diocese as well. And I know Barney certainly fosters that relationship, and I'll be seeking to do so as well. Lastly, regarding AIS, if anyone wants to tweet about this event, please use the Twitter handle and hashtag that's up on the screen, at Oz, AUSINT Societies. Not sure. So, at Oz, AUSINT Society, and again, hashtag AIS lectures Okay, so those who are very keen with their social media can be doing that. Just make sure that your sound is off. I should mention that as well. So, to introduce Deborah Glass, it's my great privilege to introduce her, and I should use her full title, Deborah Glass, OBE, Order of the British Empire. It's a very, very distinguished title, and she's had a very distinguished career and still has. She's Victorian Ombudsman and was appointed in March 2014 for a term of 10 years after returning home after something of a global career, mainly involved in Europe and in Asia. She was raised in Melbourne, where she studied law at Monash University. I don't know if we've got any Monash representatives here today. Oh yeah, there's a hand up the back, a couple. That's good, a few, quite a few, that's great. Let me mention some of the main reasons for Deborah's appointment, I guess, and the vast experience that has led to her appointment back here as Ombudsman. She practiced law briefly in the city of Melbourne before joining a US investment bank in Switzerland in 1985. She was appointed to the Hong Kong Securities and Futures Commission at its inception in 1989, where she became Senior Director and was instrumental in raising standards in the investment management industry. Teaching finance ethics, I'll be interested to chat with you afterwards and learn from your experience. Deborah moved to London in 1998, where she became CEO of the Investment Management Regulatory Organisation. In 2001, she joined the UK Police Complaints Authority, and in 2004 became a commissioner with the new Independent Police Complaints Commission of England and Wales, the IPCC. She was responsible for London, almost a country in itself, so it must have been quite a task, and for many high-profile criminal and misconduct investigations into police conduct. Deborah was appointed IPCC Deputy Chair in 2008, carrying operational responsibility for the regional commissioners, and was awarded an OBE for service in the New Year's Honours List in 2012. Deborah is deeply committed to ensuring fair and reasonable decision-making, as the title for her address says, in the Victorian public sector and improving public administration, and particularly perhaps for some of those who get left out a little bit in our society. She holds a firm belief in public sector integrity and the protection of human rights. So please welcome our distinguished new Victorian Ombudsman, Deborah Glass.